Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Amplify Your Business. Today, we're going to be talking about a new accelerator program that has started here in Edmonton. And today's guests are Ashif, who is the chair of the Telus Community Safety and Wellness Accelerator, as well as a couple entrepreneurs who are currently engaged in or accepted in the accelerator. So we have Lana Cuthberson from Areto Labs, as well as Darby Walton from PALCares. Welcome to the episode, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so let's start out, Ashif, with yourself. Could you tell us a little bit about the Telus Community Safety and Wellness Accelerator and what some of the goals are?
For sure. The Telus Community Safety and Wellness Accelerator really is a social impact-based accelerator, one of the first of its kind in the world, actually, that couples, industries. It brings industry together, brings domain experts and community agencies that deliver, community safety and wellness programs to the community, and then brings in entrepreneurs and brings in a leading accelerator program from the Valley, Alchemist. And then again, couples that with data, with funding, and with everything you need to build a successful business.
Well, that's really exciting. And so now we have today a couple people who were accepted into the accelerator. Can you tell me about the process in which they would have gone through in order to become considered for it and then obviously become an actual participant?
Yeah, for sure. So we had done a call for cohort applicants back, I believe, in November, if I'm not mistaken. As soon as the program was announced, et cetera. And the goals are really to find companies from around the world that did work in the social space, so whether it's community safety or wellness, and very broad, but very specific in the sense that they had to use technology and had either were using artificial intelligence or had plans to do so. And we were looking for, again, companies with an established footprint. So not just somebody that had an idea, but somebody that actually had a product. Didn't mean that the product had to have revenues, but had to have something tangible, right? And so we had this call to action. We had our Alchemist recruiters from around the world work on it. We invited about 200 plus applicants to apply. And we got, again, some really amazing applications coming in. And I think there were about 60 that we were reviewing as judges. So we shortlisted that 40 and picked the top 20. And the top 20 came from all across, all around the world, including 3, I think, or 4 from Alberta.
Okay, so this is not just an Edmonton-based initiative then. This is something that's very much global.
Exactly.
Exactly right. So now, what is the end goal? These companies are going to, at the end of this, have accomplished what?
So we were looking, our goals for the accelerator were, we know we have these social challenges, so whether it's homelessness or addictions or mental health and so forth. And we've done so many different things in the past, multiple decades. We put more money into it. We put more resources into it. But you would argue that we haven't received the outcomes that we were expecting for the investment that we've made, right? Mm. And what's been the missing ingredient? We believe it's entrepreneurship. It's creative thinking. It's out of the box thinking, paired with AI, paired with data, et cetera, et cetera. So for these companies, they get the chance to learn from the best of the world. The Alchemist Network is about 30,000 mentors, and if you Google it and look at some of the people. These are people that have had billion-dollar plus exits in their various corporations, and they want to give back, right? So they're giving back in the form of time and mentoring. So these companies in the cohort get the benefit of that. They learn how to scale a business, marketing, pricing, like all the elements you would need to be a successful business. On top of that, we brought community agencies. So agencies like Boyle or Bentero or Bissell, right? And they're going to provide domain expertise, the real problems that they face. These companies will be able to work with them, right? And kind of learn from them. So they get all that wonderful stuff. And then ultimately they'll very likely get their first paying customer, which is the hardest thing to get as a startup.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think, like you mentioned at the very top of this is one of a kind or the first of its kind. And so is that the the fact that it's really focused on the social good aspect? So, or is it just this global aspect to it that's being started here in Edmonton? What is the unique one of a kindness of this?
So we've seen other social impact accelerators, and there isn't that many, but there are a few out there. They don't have the community agency support. So what they're doing is they're providing the programming to their cohort companies, but not the end customer, right? Also, they're not providing data. We have data, right? They're not providing the artificial intelligence skills to help these companies. So there's a bunch of ingredients that they're not providing, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just they're not providing that. We decided to look at the whole gamut and saying, okay, these are the pieces of the puzzle, right? We're not going to put together the puzzle for the companies, but we're going to give them all the pieces, right? We're going to help them see it so they can see, oh, that piece goes there, that goes there, that goes there, and then they're going to be in charge of putting the pieces together.
Fascinating. Well, so I'd like to now turn our attention then to the entrepreneurs themselves and find out a little bit about each one of them. So Lana over at Areto Labs, can you tell us a little bit about your company and why you decided to apply to be part of this accelerator?
Yeah, sure. So Areto Labs is a B2B SaaS company, and also we consider ourselves to have a social impact mission. So our mission is to make digital communities more positive and inclusive, and thinking about an accelerator focused on community safety and wellness. If you put digital in front of that, each word, that's exactly what we are, and that's exactly what we do. So our product that we've got in the market, we do have revenue and paying customers for, so we're running the business at this point, combines artificial intelligence to do social listening inside digital communities for enterprises who want to protect their employees in their digital workplaces. And so digital workplaces for us look almost like this, like a Zoom meeting. Maybe it looks like a Slack channel, but for some of us, media personalities, athletes, influencers, even scientific leaders, if you think about COVID and the context there, for a lot of us in roles like that, our digital workplace is now Twitter or Instagram, social media. And the scale of toxicity and abuse that can happen on those platforms effectively in your workplace has created an enormous problem for businesses and orgs of all different types. And so that's the problem that we're aiming to solve. And as I said, we've combined machine learning to do listening with automated cultural interventions to ultimately build a long-term solution that's a proactive way to deal with online abuse. So that's a little bit about us.
Yeah. So one of the things that really strikes me is that, there's a lot of talk in terms of the consumer side of that and the toxicity in social media, in a lot of the digital channels. I haven't heard a lot of discussion around the business, toxicity or some of the challenges that businesses are facing within that. And so why did you choose to tackle that problem versus the much larger consumer one, or what I perceive to be a larger one anyway?
For us, it's as Ashif was mentioning, sort of thinking about the puzzle pieces. And so, my origin story, I was working at a financial institution in product marketing and program management and artificial intelligence. So I was kind of doing some tech company business in my day job over here, and then in my morning job and my night job and my weekend job, I was working with women who were thinking about running for public office, running for politics, and trying to talk to them about, what barriers they were facing and what was preventing them from contributing fully in this really important public way. And for me, that's a really key part of just achieving gender equality on a larger scale. And so hearing them talk about their struggles with Twitter, realizing that, they shouldn't have to tackle this alone. They're applying for a job effectively, and there are people that should exist in their realm of support to help them. And so then we started thinking about, okay, not only do we have a social problem that we need to solve, not only have we come up with this technological solution, but we also now see this really very compelling market opportunity emerge. And as Ashif was saying, that's what entrepreneurship is. There's the key ingredient is there's a market from businesses and organizations who are trying to solve this problem for their employees, for their brand, and it's that for us, we haven't a lot of dedicated solutions yet for that particular audience. So what's really, really exciting to us, and the core technology of what we're doing is very, very exciting. Alberta is a great place to be doing some of this deep machine learning work as well, because as we grow our business, a lot of things can grow with it. So our social impact, and also some of the technology work that we're doing in the cutting edge research and in that computer science area too. So there's lots of fun problems to chew on for us, and it's a fun job.
It sounds like it for sure. And it sounds like quite an opportunity that you've identified. So Darby, let's talk a little bit about PALCares. What is it that PALCares does then?
Yeah, absolutely. So PALCares is an artificial intelligence recommender system that aims to personalize the search for social services. Basically, we want to use open source data and individual personas developed by community members who use the platform to create a personalized set of recommendations for their needs. We recognize now more than ever, people are really struggling to access social supports within their community. And there's a huge difference between the availability of services and accessibility of services. So we want to leverage some of that demographic, geographic, and economic factor consideration that goes into decision-making when people are deciding what kind of supports could best meet their needs. And then in addition to that, we want to highlight social services they might have never considered, because we understand now too that people really have a lack of understanding about how the sector operates, and you have to have a huge understanding of community impact and community services in order to be able to find the correct supports. So we're trying to build a bridge to help people figure out best what to access.
Well, that's really fascinating, because we do a lot of work within the charity not-for-profit space at Ampla Media, supporting them with marketing communications work. And one of the challenges that is very common amongst most of them anyway is that the people who are using their services, like you said, oftentimes don't understand what other services are available to them. And so a big part, I know for some of them anyway, a big part of their resources go towards trying to help them navigate that web of interconnected and sometimes overlapping service offerings from other community organizations. So that's really interesting. And so at what stage then of your business are you guys at right now then? Are you startup, pre-startup? Are you revenue generating? Where are you at?
Yeah, so we're actually fully a nonprofit, so the intention will not be generating revenue from our lens. But in terms of where we're at currently, we're kind of in that preliminary phase. We've done a lot of our community consultation, and we've talked with several partners, and now we're in the process of establishing a fiscal agent relationship with another community organization in Edmonton, so that we can fundraise using their charitable status, considering we won't be able to gain charitable status until we have proof of concept. But we're plugging along with those conversations, and it puts us in a really good place to be in this accelerator now, especially alongside all of the mentorship and everything that will be received through that, knowing that that's what's gotten us as far as we've been, because this idea started so different than how it looks now. And so we're really happy to continue having conversations about this space, especially understanding how difficult it might be to bridge artificial intelligence and machine learning with the very complex web that is the nonprofit sector.
Yeah, so Ashif, this is, I wasn't anticipating that you'd also be accepting nonprofit organizations into it as well. And so do you have a fairly even blend of that, or is there, is this the only instance of a not-for-profit that's in the program?
Yeah, it's a good question. To my knowledge, this is the only instance because traditionally we do not accept not-for-profits, but their mission, their story was very compelling, and because it fits really well into our mission of helping these agencies and helping the end constituents, the person on the street that is looking for those services, we thought it'd be good to work with them, to bring them into the fold, because we think a lot of the other companies in the cohort can benefit from their platform too.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And so another question for Ashif is just with regard to, you said that it's really quite global in nature. There's 4 companies in total that are from Edmonton. from Alberta, 2 from Edmonton. What's the Canada representation versus the rest of the world then on this particular initiative?
There is, and again, don't quote me on the numbers because it's fuzzy in here right now. We've gone through so many interviews and all that, but I believe there's probably about 7 or 8 in Canada, and the rest are from the rest of the world.
Okay.
Right, so we've got a company from Russia, Turkey, South Africa, New Zealand. There's a bunch from the US and so forth.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, very, very interesting. And so now, is there going to be any challenges just with regard to that in language, in the communication that's going to be happening amongst all the participants and the mentors and organizers of this accelerator?
No, because all the interviews were done in English. So we know, the founders especially are very fluent in English. And we've picked a time zone that works for everybody, surprisingly. And I believe it's around 10 or 11 in the morning Mountain Time and goes till about 3-ish, right? And it's either very early in Israel or very late in New Zealand, or vice versa, right? So it's kind of like everybody's in. They're either waking up earlier or staying up later.
Yeah.
But they're all engaged and all really excited to be part of the journey.
Yeah. So Lana, from your perspective, what is the perfect end, I guess, state for you once you're done this program? Because it's a 12-week program, I believe. So 12 weeks are up. What would be ideal in terms of what you've learned or what you've accessed or where your business is at and so on? So what's that end state, hopefully?
Yeah. The reason we joined this accelerator program is essentially because of the word accelerate. We're hoping to take advantage of the resources available to us through this program, the mentors, the peers, the learning sessions that we can answer, the coaching that we have access to, and shorten the amount of time that it takes us to reach certain milestones. I guess sort of it's a bit of an unfair advantage, or it lets us iterate faster. We don't have to make as many mistakes over a longer period of time, or we can make a smaller mistake that we learn from really quickly that someone can give us feedback on, so that then we're sort of failing fast and moving quickly. So that part really the key. And we've just business milestones, revenue goals that we're planning to hit, and strategies we're working through, customers we have to work through and work with in particular, and just learn better about how to shorten our sales cycle. We've got some certain specific goals, really specifically around the sales, revenue, customer discovery, customer onboarding piece, that we're quite interested in really leveraging all of the resources through this accelerator to get to those places faster.
So Darby, when you received that phone call or email or whatever it was saying, hey, you've been accepted into this program, what did that mean to your organization then?
Yeah, it was honestly a bit beyond belief, considering our status as a not-for-profit. It was really transformational for us. I think it was one of the first things that really put into perspective how feasible and possible this solution was becoming, and to see it be respected by these community members with all of this expertise garnered in this space. I think it really helped us to think, if this were to not exist in the future, it wouldn't just be us who felt it. And so we're really excited to have the opportunity to leverage all of the support and all of the mentorship, and all of those very niche business learnings will be of great value to us as well, because I know we still have some work to do with maybe refining our target market, or thinking about how we'd want to program, kind of the back end of this system to best reflect how people work through this space. So, I mean, I think it'll be a very, transformational project for us to be a part of.
So, and this question is a little bit more open to all three of you, whoever wants to take it or whoever wants to jump in and add to the other person's answers. But I'm just really intrigued by, all the activities that are happening right now in the machine learning, the AI space in Edmonton. We're getting really great global recognition for the research that's happening here. The startups seem to be just really quite accelerating. At least in my eyes, it seems like that. I'm hearing much more activity all the time. Is that just me seeing more of the headlines, or and that is actually not the case, or is this really becoming quite the epicenter of machine learning, AI technology and startup?
I think you're 100% right, Lance. It's not just you. It's a big groundswelling, and it's I don't want to say it's come as all of a sudden. It's been brewing, right? It's one of those things where you see the pot, you see the water, and it's this little bubbles, and then all of a sudden it just there's lots of bubbles, and that's what we're at that stage right now. There's a great ecosystem. There's a great foundational support. The support from the government has been incredible with these accelerators. So I think we're at that tipping point now where it's ours to lose, basically, right? And so that means that we have to do the right things on a timely basis. These accelerators is one thing. One of my personal reasons for this accelerator was I see the grads that come out of the University of Alberta or Calgary or NAIT or SAIT, et cetera. And I see the passion in their eyes, right? And they really want to do good things. I don't want to lose those grads to another jurisdiction. I want to keep them in Alberta. So this allows them, because they want to further their career. They want to do some really good things, but they also want to make a social impact. So this allows the best of both worlds. You can make money and make an amazing social impact, right? So it works out well. The other thing, Lance, I'm not sure if I mentioned, but I'm setting up a new investment fund for this accelerator. So in April, we'll be ready for all these cohort companies. Those that are looking for funding will have a fund ready, and the fund's going to be primed by a very large social impact investor from Canada, very reputable. We'll announce that shortly, but that'll be something that will be available to them and to other companies in the space as well.
Wow, that's really exciting. Lana, Darby, did you know about this potential funding angle that's going to be available to you?
Yeah, I'll say the funding angle is certainly exciting for a nonprofit trying to raise some money to get started, but we'll see how all of that kind of shakes out. I think in terms of that question about the AI space and what potential Alberta harbors, I know for us, if we hadn't been in the Edmonton and Alberta space, I'm not sure that we'd ever have the consideration to apply artificial intelligence and machine learning to the nonprofit sector. But because it's such a pivotal point of how Alberta does business, I think it really gives an opportunity to groups like us to apply, modern day solutions to these modern day problems and really bring social impact to fruition in a way that is much more concrete and measurable than it's maybe been before.
Yeah, very much so. Lana, I'm really curious from your perspective as a startup who is, at the early stages of the revenue model, what more can be done for companies like yours in this AI machine learning space? We, like Ashif has said, we're really developing this ecosystem now. But so is it just, everything's flowing and running really good? Or is there something more that, whether it's government or whether it's industry or whether it's investors, what more could be, done in order for us to really see things just explode here?
Yeah, I would say the way I would sum it up is that I think down in Alberta on this investment from a number of different angles. So, we see now some of the fruits of the long-term investment in post-secondaries in our education and science. The computer science department at the University of Alberta, with some of the key researchers that it attracted, and now some of the students that it's produced, they're doing really, really important work in the province and all over the world. You sort of say, oh, this really important paper that came out and is headline news on the BBC, like, oh, that was a U of A grad. So I think the results that we've seen so far from the investment that's been put in so far in Alberta are really good evidence to say that, okay, now we can double that on a number of fronts. And so I would say, Ashif is inspiring to me because I think it's a really good example of thinking much bigger. Like let's take a leap of progress in this province to continue that investment and keep going. It's going to shape the world. It's going to shape the future, and we have this competitive advantage. And it's like, let's drive harder. Let's keep going. It's part of what inspires me for sure.
Yeah, and Ashif, on that topic, I think it takes a tremendous amount of resources and patience, time to really get that ecosystem established and starts to roll. And now that it almost seems to me, just thinking it from a business standpoint, this would be the time in which you would just really push all your chips in and just really go double down, and because the multiplier effects are going to be so significant now that we have that ecosystem in place. Is that your thinking as well, or is there other things that really need to happen before we really can get to that point?
No, I think you're right. I play poker, so to me, this hand is a full house, right? It's pretty hard to beat. There is obviously a couple of hands that can beat it, but pretty tough to beat. So at this point, I would be putting all in, right? Going all in, putting all my money in, and like as I mentioned, I'm setting up the fund and I'm investing my own money into it, a sizable portion of that. So no, it is the right time. It is our time. And actually, it's our time, as in Alberta's time, to show the world that we're amazing at natural resources. We've got that nailed. But guess what? We're even better at solving social impact problems. And we're going to do that in a way that's scalable, sustainable, and repeatable, something that other jurisdictions can take. And that'll be our gift to the world.
Is what you mentioned there just led me to recall a quote from Todd Hirsch, the economist over at ATB. He was saying in a recent economic update just around, this, we have in Alberta this idea that, we're an energy based economy, and that our success is really on the really focused on the energy sector, and there's been lots of desire to diversify and try to expand that portfolio a bit so we don't have the same reliance. But his argument was it's not so much that we are really good at oil and gas and energy, it's more that it's the innovation within it. That's what we're really good at. And we need to recognize that we're a province of innovators, of innovation. And I think that ties in exactly with what you were just saying there too.
Oh, exactly. And in all the businesses I've had, it's, the key ingredient we have in Alberta is our talent. It's, and I know, it sounds biased, and I am biased, obviously, but when I had companies from all around the world, we were in 180 countries, companies like a Google or an HP or an IBM would tell us that we love your people. Your people are the smartest, most innovative, creative thinkers that we've ever seen. And I hear that consistently. That tells me we're right in our assessment. Alberta has amazing talent.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to the cold. We have to be the raccoons out, or not the raccoons, the squirrels out there trying to, figure out ways to make it, find enough nuts to make it through the winter and stuff. And so you have to innovate for that. I don't know if that's,
we're stuck inside. So all there is to do is come up with cool ideas.
that too.
So a positive way of looking at it is it's always 20, to 22 degrees Celsius. And then you pause for a couple of seconds, you go indoors.
So Ashif, I'm just curious, how did you find yourself chairing this then, like at the center of this whole accelerator? I'd imagine you must have been a driving force to establish this then. Am I correct in that assumption?
Well, I chair the Edmonton Police Foundation, and again, we're looking within the foundation. The board was very, the board is filled with innovators and entrepreneurs and creative minds, right? So they were thinking, how can we make a meaningful impact on the challenges that we're working with, right? What's the missing ingredient? Again, it came to the conclusion, it's entrepreneurship. So we started on this journey of trying to get an accelerator, and wearing my other hat as an investor, I had worked on a joint proposal. I co-chaired a committee that we presented to the government on accelerators and the value behind accelerators. And so coming back to my Edmonton Police Foundation had, there was this opportunity. There was an RFP that came out, issued by Alberta Innovates, that said they were looking for accelerators, and you had to put a pitch in. And I think about 60 some entities from around the world applied, including us, right? And we were very unique in the sense that we were social impact focused, and all the ingredients we had. It was a slam dunk, right? And so, we got funded by all three levels of government. So the federal government through PrairieScan, Innovate Edmonton, which is the municipal arm, and Alberta Innovates were our three funders. So we were very fortunate to get that. And I kind of became the chair for the Accelerator because I was the chair for the foundation, for the key sponsor of this. But my goal is, again, to create an environment where it just keeps growing with or without me. Hopefully without me. I got other things to do as well. But at a certain point, it'll be well established, but others can take it over and run with it.
Yeah, really exciting. And so I know that because it's a 12-week program, we're going to have a demo day at some point in April. I think you were saying maybe mid-April. So what does that demo day look like? Is this something that the public will be able to stay informed as to what has been accomplished by these companies and not-for-profits, I guess, who are participants, or what does it look like?
Yeah, definitely. The intent is to make it very broad, demo day. So demo day is kind of, we've all seen the show Dragon's Den, right? Or Shark Tank. It's exactly like that, right? These companies will have a very short amount of time to pitch, be very succinct, right? And get to the point, because at that pitch time, the clock ends, they're done. So if they didn't cover their message, they're done. So they're all going to learn how to speak very quickly and efficiently. But more importantly, communicate what you really want. So they're going to get all that training. They will now pitch to the world, investors, a potential for investing in their company, right? And so there's going to be 20 pitches. They're going to have venture capitalists, investors from all around the world. Some of the top names in the Bay Area will be part of this. But one of the things I want to do is allow our community, the Alberta community, to participate as well. So we might have a Facebook live stream. I know I don't want to spill the beans, but we're going to have a youth segment, young entrepreneurs that will be part of it, and they will have a vote as well. They will collectively be one vote. So it'll be very interesting because these are our next generation of social impact entrepreneurs that will be at the table as well. So it'll be cool.
Oh, that sounds so exciting. Yeah, really, really cool. Okay, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate each one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules today to talk to us a little bit about this accelerator and about your businesses, Lana and Darby. For those who maybe want to find out more about each one of you or to reach out and connect, we'll just do a quick roundtable in terms of how they might be able to do that. So Darby, how might people reach out and connect with you or with PALCares?
Yeah, I would say the best ways right now would currently be LinkedIn or emailing any of our founders at their first name and then at palcares.ca. So if you wanted to connect with me, it would be darby@palcares.ca, in addition to Instagram and other social media.
Excellent. How about you, Lana?
aretolabs.com will get you all.
Okay. And Ashif?
Yeah, cswaccelerator.com. And you'll find us there.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. Again, really appreciate it. And for those of you who are watching this episode and enjoyed it and want to check out some of our other interviews, head over to amplifyyourbusiness.ca, and that's where you'll find the archive. So everybody, good luck. Hopefully you do extremely well on demo day and attract a bunch of investment and take a bunch of Ashif's money as he pushes his pot all in.